Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about shadow puppets, so if you want to make some, stick around. Hello everyone and welcome back to Better Every Day with Mr. Rock. As many of you know, February is like right around the corner and there's a ton of different things that's going on in February, so I decided what I'm going to do is each week we're going to do a little bit more about the different things that happens in February. But so what are some of the occasions and holidays that are going on? So just to name a few, we have Black History Month, National Freedom Day, Groundhog Day, Valentine's Day, the Chinese New Year, Random Acts of Kindness Day and Week, and President's Day. That's just a small amount because every day there's something highlighted in February, but today we're going to primarily talk about Groundhog Day and Random Acts of Kindness. Now you're probably thinking, well, the Random Acts of Kindness isn't until later in the month. I thought that was a perfect opportunity for us to do that now. That way you can prepare for when it actually happens so that you're ready. Today I'm also going to be reading a book called Be Kind by Pat Miller. And then as always we're going to do some activities, so I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited too, so let's get to it. So what is Groundhog Day? So Groundhog Day is a day that a whole bunch of people kind of look to a groundhog and they think it's going to predict the weather. Now, is it fun? Sure, you can have a lot of fun when you do it. Is it accurate? No. Okay. So the idea of it comes as the groundhog comes out of his hole, sees his shadow, and then scurries back inside, and then you'll get 6 more weeks of winter. The weatherman kind of makes a big deal about it. The news outlets have a good amount of stuff that happens to it, but the groundhog does not predict the weather despite what people may believe. Now, with that being said, there is a high accuracy of how the weather will be based on it, and I wouldn't say that's just sheer dumb luck, but hey, I don't know everything. So let's talk about Groundhog Day. So where did it really come from, right? So it's not a federal holiday, but it's one that's widely celebrated, especially around our country, Canada, and a few other places in the Americas here. It started in the 1800s by the German settlers who were celebrating Candlemas Day. So at some point that changed to Groundhog Day, but the original celebrations and the concepts kind of came from that. So it's more of a tradition. The earliest reference to Groundhog's Day was in 1841, and it was in a journal entry. But it has more significance as the years went on. So one of the coolest things about this particular day is in 1993 they actually made a movie called Groundhog's Day. If you haven't heard of it, ask your parents. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, it's something that everyone kind of cherishes. So since we're talking about groundhogs, so what's some fun facts about groundhogs? Groundhogs are part of the squirrel family, which is kind of weird because squirrels are real tiny and groundhogs are real big. But they do have the same family that they come from. Another name for a groundhog is woodchuck. So if you ever heard the how many woods could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck, there's a lot of tongue twisters with that. As you get older, that's probably something that you'll practice around with. Interestingly enough, groundhogs are really intelligent animals, so they practice complex social networks that they form. They understand social behavior. They have a kinship throughout their life with their children, and they can understand and communicate threats through whistling, which I don't want to say it's uncommon, but it's unique to them because like birds might signal, these animals do. do the same thing. And if there's a big task at hand, they'll work cooperatively to make sure that that task happens, whether it's burrowing holes or putting up areas for food, things like that, because they are an animal that typically would hibernate during the winter. Um, so Groundhog Day has probably the big celebrity for that would be Puxatawny Phil. So he's the one you're going to see on the TV in the morning. He's the one that everyone looks to for the uh, prediction. But Punxsutawney Phil actually got his name from King Philip, which would have been the king of England at that time, when he first came about. And then just on this particular day in Gobbler Knob, where Punxsutawney Phil does his production, over 10,000 people come to watch him come out of his cage and predict the weather. Now, like I said, it's a big spectacle. It's not really something that would be nature because he's a caged animal, but it's still fun all the same. But he's not just the only predictor. There are actually other ones that are used throughout the country. So in Lilburn, Georgia, there's General Beauregard Lee. Staten Island, New York has Staten Island Chuck. Marion, Ohio, which isn't too far from here, they have Buckeye Chuck. And then they're celebrated in Canada in various different places, primarily with different names, but they all have the premise of Chuck versus Groundhog. And that's just a few. So if you really want to know more about it, speak into Google or whatever that you're allowed to at the house and say, hey, tell me more about Groundhog Day. And it'll tell you it'll answer all the questions that you have, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So today we're going to do some shadow puppet drawing, and we're going to make some puppets. So why don't we get started with actually making our puppets. So I have some that are already pre-prepped here. You can see it's a little person, an animal, and a car, and I believe I have a house over there. Now I printed mine on black, and if you hold it at an angle, you can kind of see the outlines here. The reason why I put it on black is you don't want the light to go through, and we'll get into more of that here in a minute. So let me cut this out real quick here. Now you can have mom and dad help you make your puppets. If you want to cut them out on your own, that's fine. Mom and dad, if you're listening, this is a good way to help build the fine motor skills. It's good at problem solving. It kind of helps with other mental facets that you can do. You can make this as fun as you want. Now, while your child's doing this, something you're going to need is paper. You're going to need a good flashlight, because I tried my ring light earlier just to kind of get an idea how it was going to work, and well, the ring light kind of put multiple angles, so you really couldn't see. And we'll talk more with that as I move over to the table to do these. So I'm almost got this cut out. You can cut out as many of these as you want. Before you do it, you can think of what you want to do with the shadows. Do you want to act out a play, create a story, tell a story, do something from your book, and then have mom and dad read the book along as you act out the characters. I encourage you to kind of get real crazy with this and have a lot of fun. Now you can use regular glue. I'm going to use a hot glue gun, and I'm going to use a popsicle stick, and I'm going to glue it onto one of the legs here. The reason why I'm gluing it onto the leg is I want it to look like he's standing. So I'm going to put this here. And if you do what I just did, get some glue on it, pick it back up, and as you can see, we have our little people. So why don't we go ahead and go over to the table and see what we can do with these. Alright, so what I've done is I have set up flashlight propped up real high. I taped a piece of paper to the table. Yours doesn't have to be this big. It could be really any size that you want it to be. Now, what you want to do is decide what you're going to draw or trace for the shadow tracing here. I think this is a really great time for learning how to draw, the different steps that you can take to do that. It kind of shows perspective. So if you're not super good at drawing shapes, that you can draw the shapes also. So basically I have this down here, and as you can see, this kind of looks like an apple, and what I'm using is an actual apple. So we have this here. So what you want to do is, once you have it down and your light on it, you can trace this around. Okay, and we have our leaf here. Alright, so you can see I didn't follow the shadow right here, and that's okay. This is another good way for you to practice tracing your letters. So if you want to make it a little interesting, what you want to do is cut out the shapes that you want, the letters that you want, prop them up and stand them up. So let's do something else. I have here my crayon sharpener. We're going to sit him off here to the side. If you have to move the light a little bit, that'll help you get the angle that you want. So we're going to start here at the top and go up around. Okay. I encourage you to make this as interesting as possible. You can get as creative as you want. Really, it's just one of those, let's have fun and kind of make this into something really interesting. So why don't we move on to the puppets that I made, and let's kind of see what we can do with those. Alright, so I set up my piece of paper underneath my table because it's a little bit darker. You could turn out all the lights, black out the windows to put on your puppet show, throw up a sheet if you want. Again, get as creative as you want. So we're going to take our little people here. So we have the mom. Hi everybody! We have the dad. Hello! We have his car. We have the little dog. Bark, 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 bark. And we have their house. Okay, now the closer you move to your light, the bigger it is. The farther away you put it, the smaller it will get. If you have more than one person, you could really get super awesome with it. You can do the tracing the same way. If you would rather do it this way, you know, it's really what you want it to do. What I would do is think of what kind of play you want to put on, make your characters to that, and then kind of set everything up. If you're recording this, you can change the background because it's all going to be one solid color. And you know, go from there. So we have our dog, and our dog's going for a walk. And we have these two, just happy as can be. So I hope you guys like learning how to make your own puppet show, make some shadow puppets. What we're going to do is go back over to the desk, and we're going to talk about random acts of kindness. So how many of you are going to try the shadow activities that we did? I think you can do a lot with them. Personally, I think if I could make a really long video, I could do a lot more with it. You could take these activities outside. You don't have to do them in the house. Today, it's sunny outside today. I had to close all my blinds, and you could still tell that there was still a good amount of light in the room. Um, but you could talk about your shadow, how your shadow always sticks to you, and things like that. You can't run away from it. You can't jump off of it. Um, but anyways, so let's move on. So before we talk about the random acts of kindness, let's hear the story "Be Kind." I looked at a bunch of different books. I personally like this one over the rest of them because it really talks about what it is to be kind. Uh, so why don't we hear the story? Be Kind by Pat Miller, illustrated by Jen Hill. Tanisha spilled grape juice yesterday, all over her new dress. Everyone laughed. I almost did too. But Mom always tells me to be kind, so I tried. I don't think it worked. I said, "Purple's my favorite color." I thought Tanisha would smile, but she ran into the hall instead. When she came back, snack time was over. She put on her art smock and didn't look at anyone. I almost told Tanisha that art was my favorite class, but I didn't want her to leave again, so I painted purple splotches and added some green until I had a bunch of beautiful violets. When I painted, I thought about Tanisha. Should I have handed her my napkin? Let her borrow my sweatshirt? Spilled my juice so everyone stared at me instead? What does it mean to be kind anyway? Maybe it's making cookies for Mr. Rondali, who lives alone. Letting someone with smaller feet have my too tight shoes. He might win races in them too. Maybe it's helping. Putting dirty dishes in the sink. Cleaning up after Otis, our class guinea pig. He's a messy eater. Maybe it's paying attention. Telling Desmond I love his blue boots, and asking the new girl to be my partner. Listening to Aunt Franny's stories, even the ones I've heard before. Being kind should be easy, like throwing away a wrapper, or recycling a bottle, or saying, "Thank you," and "Bless you." My mom says the quickest way to be kind is to use people's names. "Hey Kayla," "What's new, Omar?" "Good afternoon, Rabbi." Being kind can be hard too. When you know what to do, teaching someone something I'm good at is tricky, even when I'm patient. And sticking up for someone when others aren't kind is really hard and really scary. Maybe I can't solve Tanisha's grape juice problem. Maybe all I can do is sit in her art class and paint this picture for her because I know she likes purple too. Maybe I can do small things, but my small things might join small things other people do, and together they could grow into something big. Something really big. So big that all our kindness spill out of our school, spread throughout town, travel across the country, and go all the way around the world. Right back to Tanisha and me. So we can be kind. Again, and again, and again. What did you guys think of the story? Do you have a favorite part? You know, I think every day we probably would experience a time that we could be kind to somebody. And I would imagine Tanisha is not the only one who has something happen to her and everyone around them kind of made fun of it. Think back to a time that something happened to you and how the people around you reacted, and uh, do you think that them being kind would have made that situation a little bit better? So yeah, I think it highlights all the different things that you can do. So what can we do? So we can call a friend or family member and tell them how we care about them. We can write a letter to a teacher, school counselor, janitor, police, fireman, EMS. The list goes on. Service members. Just tell them thank you. Uh, you never know how that's going to affect them for that day. You can draw pictures for your best friends. I know with my job, I'm extremely blessed to have some of the most kind and caring friends. I get pictures all the time, so much so that if I were to put them up, all the walls behind me would be completely covered. And I can honestly say, from experience, anyone who does the type of work that we do here could probably say the same. Um, you can help mom or dad take something in from the car. Maybe you went grocery shopping with them, and you weren't exactly in the best mood for it. A good thing that you could do afterwards is be, I'm sorry, let me help you carry this stuff in. Uh, you can hold the door for someone. I know one of the things that I really instill with my boys is to be a young gentleman and open the door and use some of the manners that we use every day. You can just smile at somebody. So, say you have a friend across the room from you who might look a little sad, and you think that they need a spirit lift up. You can just smile at them, wave. You never really know what they're thinking at that time. And really, we could go on forever about this. Something to keep in mind, you can do this every day. So I guess we have to really think about, where did random acts of kindness come from, right? Granted, we know it's something that we could do every day. It was actually started in New Zealand. Now, they don't celebrate it in March like we do. They actually do Random Acts of Kindness Day, and it's September 1st. But it's celebrated all around the world on different days and various methods. In the U.S., we do it February 17th, is Random Acts of Kindness Day. Most school settings will do Random Acts of Kindness Week. So it'll be the week of the 17th. So this year it's going to be the 13th through the 19th. And as you get closer, you'll probably hear some of your teachers talk about it and some of the things that you're going to do to do it. So, what is kindness? It's a way of doing something nice for others, and it really makes me think of when I was growing up. One of the shows that I watched was Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. If you don't know what that is, ask mom and dad to find a video of it for you. One of his reoccurring themes was always be kind. If anything else goes on, be kind is the one that you want to continually stick to. And in his show, he was basically the leader. He started so many things that we have now. It's amazing the impact that he had with his be kind and how we are every day. If I could put an episode in here, I would, but unfortunately I can't. So with that, everything that we can, do. So I found, when I was doing my research for this, I actually found a statement or a phrase that really sums up what the day is. It says, kind words and actions can seem small, but their effects are truly endless. It said author unknown when I found it. It's amazing because, like we saw in the story, you can start with something so simple, and next thing you know, you've created a long line of kindness that just keeps growing and growing and growing. So I'm going to put all the links for these next things that I have up, or where I found the pictures here. So let's make a kindness card or a thank you card. I printed off some of these little notes on red paper. Basically what it says is give and get kindness notes, and then you could practice writing something over here, and then down on the bottom you see it says sincerely, and that's where you would write your name. So think of someone that you want to write a note to. You know, maybe you got into an argument with one of your friends yesterday, and you want to tell them that, you know, you still love them and care for them, and they're impacting their life. You could write on here what you want to do. If you have a neighbor who is someone who works in the community, just thank them. You know, you can use these cards. And if you don't have a way to print something off, basically what you could do is just take a regular plain piece of paper. You can cut it in half, or you can fold it in half and make your own cards. I know Christmas time, birthdays, you know, we get cards, but very rarely do we ever get a card just because. And a perfect example of that would be this here. I recently had a friend of mine give me this card, and it says, "Because of you, this world is a nicer place." I mean, it made my day. And inside it's very simple. It says, "Thank you so much," and then they wrote their names in it. You know, it could be really anything that you want to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed the story, and I hope you enjoyed doing some of the activities with the shadows. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you haven't liked or followed me on YouTube, please do so. The link will be in the comments below here. So until next week, you guys have a